Hi, it's Natalie here, and today I'm going to be talking about how to actually pick your niche. I'm also going to be talking about how to pick a niche without limiting yourself and also making sure that your niche isn't too narrow. Because I always get asked, hey Natalie, I think I would like to go into this area. Is this too narrow? Or hey Natalie, I want to do this, but is this too broad? How do we balance the two and make sure we're not limiting ourselves, but also make sure that we're not getting lost in a sea of people that are doing the exact same thing as us, right? So today I'm going to show you my 3-step process as well as a couple of extra tips to make sure that you do this correctly. Before we get into this video, if you are interested in learning how to use Instagram as a platform to actually attract clients and use social media to turn strangers into paying clients and get yourself found and get yourself out there, and then also know what to do once people start following you to then get them to book a call with you, right? If you want to know my process for actually going about this, I have a full complete training available for you. All right, and all you have to do is go to the link in the description below, click that link, and you can watch my full training on how to do that for yourself, right? First, though, you're going to want to watch this video because this video is going to be foundational for helping you with the getting clients stuff, okay? So let's get into my exercise for how to get your niche and pick this niche and get this foundation step out of the way, right? So first things first, real simple, get out a piece of paper and a pen and list out 5 things that you're interested in, right? What are 5 things, 5 different areas that you love, right? And just list them all. We're not picking anything right now, right? So don't get too tied to anything. This is just listing 5 things, right? Next, write a number 2, Next, what areas do you get the best client feedback? So if you've worked with clients, right, maybe you were previously a clinical RD, or maybe you worked at a gym, or maybe something, right? Or maybe you were in this wellness, holistic practice or something like that, right? But you've worked with clients before. Where did you receive the best feedback? What was that in? Right? Was it in, let's say, sports nutrition? Was it in helping people manage their diabetes? Was it in helping people develop a better relationship with food and body? What were those things? And list out 5. All right? Just list out 5. Okay? Now, if you haven't worked with clients before, okay, what I want you to think about is what are areas that you've actually maybe helped people with unintentionally. Like sometimes I hear from people, even when they haven't actually been paid to work with clients, that they've helped friends and family with things, right? So that's you. List out what that was and what you helped those friends and family with. Number 3, and this is actually the most important one. The most important one. List out 5 areas that have a high market need. That means when you actually do research and you go through the topics that maybe you listed before, we have to make sure that what you're going into is actually in high demand, right? I like to use this example of the Shark Tank episode. Ever watched Shark Tank before? Right? It's an American television show about how, you can get investors for your company. And there was this woman who came on there, and she was trying to sell these shoes that had interchangeable heels, right? Because she said women don't want more shoes, right? So what they instead want is they want the ability to be able to take off the heel and put on a different type of heel so it looks like an entirely different shoe. Now, although that might appeal to a couple of women, right? I would say that the majority of women would agree with me when I say I am perfectly fine with having a ton of shoes. Give me more shoes. I'm okay with having multiple different kinds of shoes. I really don't love the idea of keeping track of pieces of shoes, right? I just want other kinds of shoes, and I will buy different types of shoes for different types of occasions, and I have no issue doing that, right? So what I mean by this is the woman's business went out of business real fast, right? Because this foundational step wasn't in place, right? She went in, she was like, you know what? Women need different types of shoes, so I'm going to make an interchangeable heel when the majority of women just want more shoes, is basically it, right? So make sure that what you're going into, that there's actually a high demand and need for that. And don't just go based off of your own experience, because that's what that lady did, right? That's what she did. What she did is she was like, for me, I would love to have interchangeable heels. You aren't everybody. Don't go based off of your experience. This is a crucial mistake a lot of people make, is they pick their niche and they do all their research based on their niche because they are their niche. I don't care if you're your niche, all right? You better go look up. You better go do some sleuthing. You better go actually look at what people are saying. Go read blogs. Go read the comments of the blogs. Go on YouTube videos. Go read the comments on those YouTube videos. Go on Instagram posts. Actually do some research and see what people are saying that they actually want. See what these people are saying and see if what you're planning on offering is something that people are going to pay money for, right? Because we can't build a business if we aren't actually making sales. It's not a business if we're not making sales, all right? It's just a very time-consuming hobby, okay? So that's the third most foundational piece. Now, to actually pick our niche, here's what we want to do. Is after we've done that research, that is going to weigh the heaviest, right, on which one is going to be our choice. That third crucial piece. But here's another thing. We also need to make sure that we're marrying what you're actually talented at, right? And then finally looking at, do I really want to do this? Please, for all that is good in this world, don't go into weight loss if you don't want to do weight loss. Yes, lots of people want weight loss, but lots of people want a lot of things, okay? You know, just like there's women who want heels and there's women who want boots and there's women who want both. I'm really going to the shoe metaphor here, right? But my point here is that don't go into something because this is going to be your business. This is going to be something you're living and breathing day in and day out, right? So don't go into something that you don't want to do, all right, too. Okay, so now with that said, we should have a pretty good idea of what our niche is. Okay, and if we're toggling between a couple, just pick one. It's better to pick one and move forward and start working on that than to stay in this limbo of, hey, you know, I don't know if I should really pick this. And then we never move forward and we don't get clients. And then we're stuck on a step that doesn't need to take forever to complete. Okay, now here's a couple mistakes, right? Critical mistakes we want to make sure that we avoid after we've decided what our niche is, right? Which is my niche too broad or is my niche too narrow? Okay, listen to these words if you think your niche may be too broad. Helping people get healthy is not a niche. It's not. Anybody and everybody can fit into that. It's not a niche. And so don't go out here and be like, I'm going to start a business to help people get healthy. What is that? Right? What is that exactly? Okay? It can't be that. It has to be more specific. It has to be actually solving a problem. You might be like, well, people were before unhealthy and now they're getting healthy. It's got to be more like, hey, someone has issues with PCOS and now I help them actually manage their PCOS. Oh, hey, somebody has diabetes and we want to lower their A1C. Oh, hey, you get the point. There's an end goal here. It's something that's tangible. It's something that's real. This is something that will really help you with attracting clients and ensuring that we're not getting lost in this sea of nothingness and people not latching on to our marketing message. Okay, so be careful on that one. Now, how do you know that your niche isn't too narrow, right? How do you know? The only way to know is to actually test it, all right? Honestly, here's the thing. I remember back when I first started working with a longtime client of mine, Crystal Merrills, All right. And she wanted to build a business where she helped people who were suffering from concussions improve their symptoms and actually feel better and be able to live a more whole life again, right? Because she's experienced this herself. And she asked me, hey, Natalie, do you think that I could actually do that? Is that big enough? She said, or do I need to just go into general brain nutrition? And I said, Crystal, I was like, well, the only way we're going to know is if we test it, right? So what does that mean? Testing something. Does someone buy? If people aren't buying, right, and we have this uber narrow niche, and people aren't purchasing it, it may be too narrow. Now, that's not always the case because it could be a whole lot of other problems at play. It could be that the marketing isn't great. It could be how you're presenting yourself isn't great. It could be how you're positioning what you offer isn't great, right? So this isn't the end all be all. But if you're doing all of those things superbly and you aren't getting clients, it may be the niche. Now, that's not always the case. That's not always the case. And I would say this is the last thing to consider, right? But it may be too narrow. But I would say most people who are worried about having too narrow of a niche is actually not that narrow at all. All right? And go out there and sell to that market what you're planning on offering. And then we'll be able to actually get clients, right? And we can tell because people buys, it confirms that people do indeed want this. That's the only way you can test something is do people buy? That's essentially it, right? So be sure to like this video, comment below what you want me to talk about next, and subscribe because I put out new videos just like this one every single Friday, okay? And I'll see you in the next video.